We have 10th class NCRT English supplementary reader. It's called Footprints Without Feet. Footprints Without Feet. And we are starting today. We have the first lesson. There are 10 stories, classic stories. The first story is a triumph, triumph, which is great success. A triumph of surgery, a triumph of surgery James, by James Herriot, Herriot, James Herriot. So let's start. I was really worried. I was really worried about Tricky, Tricki, Tricky name. I was really worried about Tricky this time. I had pulled up. Pulled up is a phrasal verb, two words, verb, action word. I had pulled up my car when, pulled up means you parked there, you just came. I had pulled up my car when I saw him in the street with his mistress, and I was shocked at his appearance. He had become hugely fat. He had become hugely fat, Tricky, Tricki, like a bloated, like become big like a balloon, bloated sausage with a leg at each corner, like, like this, and leg at each corner. His eyes bloodshot, red, and Rheumy, stared straight ahead, and his tongue lolled from his jaws. Mrs. Mrs. Pumphrey hastened to explain. He was so listless, which was, very tension, anxiety, anxious, listless. He was so listless. Mr. Harriet, he seemed to have no energy. I thought he must be suffering from malnutrition. So I have been giving him some little extras between meals to build him up. Some malt and cod liver, codliver, fish oil, and a bowl of Horlicks at night to make him sleep. Nothing much really. And did you cut down on the sweet things as I told you? Oh, I did for a bit. But he seemed to be so weak that I had to relent. Relent means give in, surrender, agree. He does love cream cakes and chocolates, so I can't bear to refuse him. I can't bear to refuse him. I can't say no. I looked down again at the little dog. That was the trouble. Tricky's only fault was greed. There's a dog. He had never been known to refuse food. He would deal with a meal at any hour of the day or night. And I wondered about all the things Mrs. Pumphrey hadn't mentioned. Only this she mentioned. So many things she must have given. Are you giving him plenty of exercise? Well, he has little walks with me, as you can see, but Hodkin, the gardener, Hodkin, the gardener had been down with lumbago, so there has been no ring throwing lately. That ring throwing is not going on much. No exercise also for the dog. I try to sound severe, strict. Now, I really mean this. If you don't cut his food right down and give him more exercise, he's going to be really ill. He's going to be really ill. You don't understand, he's saying. You must harden. You must harden your heart. You must make your heart strong and keep him on a very strict diet. Mrs. Pumphrey wrung her hands like this, holding hands like that. Wrung her hands, WRUNG, holding hands together. Her hands, oh, I will, Mr. Harriet. I'm sure you're right, but it is so difficult, so very difficult. She set off, head down along the road, as if determined to put the new regime into practice immediately. Regime means the new suggestion he has given. REGIME, regime. I watched their progress with growing concern. Tricky was stuttering along in his little tweed coat. He had a whole wardrobe of these coats. He has bottom coats for the cold weather and a raincoat for the wet days. He struggled on, drooping in his Harness means the rope with which you catch him. I thought it wouldn't be long before I heard from Mrs. Pumphrey, like for some problem. The expected call came. Within a few days, Mrs. Pumphrey was distraught, very very sad. Distraught, sad and like very worried and full of tension. Tricky would eat nothing, refused even his favorite dishes, and besides, he had bouts of vomiting. Bouts, bouts. Again and again you have something. Bouts of vomiting. He spent all his time lying on the rug, panting. Didn't want to go for walks, didn't want to do anything. I had made my plans in advance. He's a doctor, he knows. The only way was to get Tricky out of the house for a period. I suggested that he be hospitalized for about a fortnight, 15 days, 2 weeks, to be kept under observation. The poor lady almost swooned. She almost fainted. She was so dependent on him. She was sure he would pine, want her and all, and die if he did not see her every day. But I took a firm line. This time I was strong, firm and strong. Tricky was very ill. This was the only way to save him. In fact, I thought it best to take him, best to take him without delay, and followed by Mrs. Pumphrey's wailings, WAILINGS. I marched out to the car carrying the little dog wrapped in a blanket. The entire staff was roused. The entire staff was roused, like inspired. And maids rushed in and out bringing his day bed, his night bed, favorite cushions, toys, and rubber rings, breakfast bowl, lunch bowl, supper bowl. Realizing that my car would never hold all the stuff, I started to drive away. As I moved off, Mrs. Pumphrey, with a despairing cry, like that, like no hope cry, threw an arm full of the little coats through the window. I looked in the mirror before I turned the corner of the drive. Everybody was in tears. They're missing him. They've almost brought him to death. That's the humor. Strong humor. Out on the road, I glanced down at the pathetic little animal gasping on the seat by my side. I patted the head, and Tricky made a brave effort to wag his tail, move his tail. Poor old lad, I said. You haven't a kick in you, but I think I know a cure for you. At the surgery, the household dog surged around me. Surge means moved around me. Tricky looked down at the noisy pack with dull eyes like that dog. And when put down, lay motionless on the carpet. The other dogs, after sniffing round him for a few seconds, decided he was an uninteresting object and ignored him, left him. I made up a bed for him in a warm, loose box next to the one where the other dogs slept. For 2 days, I watched on him, giving him no food, but plenty of water. At the end of the second day, he started to show some interest in his surroundings. He started looking at the surroundings. And on the third, he began to whimper. That whimper. When he heard the dogs in the yard, he started feeling nice. When I opened the door, Tricky trotted out and was immediately engulfed, surrounded, by Joe the greyhound and his friends. After rolling him over and thoroughly inspecting him, looking at him, the dogs moved off down the garden. Tricky followed them, rolling slightly with his extra fat. Later that day, I was present at feeding time. I watched while Tristan is a name, slopped the food into the bowls. There was the usual headlong, shak, fast, rush, followed by the sounds of high speed eating. Like that. Every dog knew that if he fell behind the others, he was liable. It's possible to have some competition for the last part of the meal. When they had finished, Tricky took a walk round the shining bowls, licking casually inside one or two of them. Next day, an extra bowl was put out for him, and I was pleased to see him jostling his way towards him, jostling like that, moving happily. From then on, his progress was rapid, very fast. He had no medicinal treatment of any kind, but all day he ran with the dogs. Beautiful lesson has already come out of the story. Have you noticed? This is the genius of writers. They write such a beautiful, truthful, observational, whatever, that genius way. And suddenly that lesson comes out. I'm sure all of you have seen the lesson here. He was totally gone case with a woman who was dependent on him, and now in freedom he's just enjoying, flowering, blooming. It's almost a human story. He discovered the joys of being bowled over, tramped on, and squashed every few minutes. Bowled over, okay, tramped on. Somebody's is putting their weight on him, squashed, completely smashing him every few minutes. He loves this. That's the nature of Jog. No? He became an accepted member of the gang, an unlikely silky little object among the Shaggy crew, CREW group. Shaggy means, all these, lot of fur and, all that. Fighting like a tiger for his share at mealtimes and hunting rats in the old hen house at night. He had never had such a time in his life. He had never had such a time. Such a time is such a happy time. It's an expression in English. He had never had such a time in his life. All the while, Mrs. Pumphrey hovered anxiously, moved around him. Hovered means move around. Anxiously in the background, ringing a dozen times a day for the latest bulletins. I dodged the questions about whether his wishes were being turned regularly or his correct coat worn according to the weather. He ignored her completely. She was the cause, no? But I was able to tell her that the little fellow was out of danger and convalescing. Convalescing, ESESCING. Convalescing means recovering from a this thing, illness. Rapidly, fast. The word convalescing seemed to do something to Mrs. Pumphrey. She started to bring around fresh eggs, 2 dozen at a time, to build up turkey strength. For a happy period, my partners and I had 2 eggs each for breakfast. This guy is eating. But when the bottles of wine began to arrive, the real possibilities of the situation began to dawn on the household. Real possibility. Wine also started coming. It was to enrich Tricky's blood. Lunch became a ceremonial occasion with 2 glasses of wine before and several during the meal. We could hardly believe it when the brandy came. The brandy came. Either I'll call it drink, to put a final edge on Tricky's constitution, his body. For a few nights, the fine spirit was rolled around, inhaled, and reverently rolled around. Was rolled around, his fine spirit rolled around, inhaled, and reverently drank. Reverently means with lot of actually respect. Reverence means respect, high love. They were days of deep content, happiness. Starting well with the extra egg in the morning, improved and sustained. Sustained means maintained by the midday wine, and finishing luxuriously with a lot of luxury round the fire with the brandy. It was a temptation to keep Tricky on as a permanent guest, almost a temptation. Then they'll get all this wine and everything. But I knew Mrs. Pumphrey was suffering. She was missing him. And after a fortnight, felt compelled means forced, to phone and tell her that the little dog had recovered and was waiting for collection. Within minutes, after about 30 feet of gleaming black metal drew up. Gleaming, shining black metal car drew up. Drew up means came up, parked. Outside the surgery, the chauffeur is his driver, opened the door, and I could just make out the figure of Mrs. Pumphrey, almost lost in the interior, inside, lost. Her hands were tightly clasped, in front of her. Her lips trembled. Oh, Mr. Harriet, do tell me the truth. Is he really better? She's worried about him. Actually, it's like dependence of her. Yes, he's fine. There's no need for you to get out of the car. I will go and fetch him. Bring him. Fetch him means bring him. I walked through the house into the garden. A mass of dogs was hurtling, jumping round and round the lawn, and in their midst, among them, ears flapping, tail waving, was the little golden figure of Tricky. Tricki. Tricky. In 2 weeks, he had been transformed, completely changed into a lithe, lovely moving. Lithe means lovely word. This Lithe, lovely moving, smooth moving, lithe, hard muzzled animal. He was keeping up well with the pack, with the group, stretching out in great bounds, bounds. His chest almost brushing the ground. I carried him back along the passage to the front of the house. The chauffeur, driver, Chauffeur, was still holding the car door open, and when Tricky saw, when Tricky, when Tricky saw his mistress, Mrs. Pumphrey, he took off from my arms in a tremendous leap. Wonderful, tremendous leap, big leap he took off. Dogs are loyal. No? Leap and sailed into Mrs. Pumphrey's lap. That's why she loves him. She gave a startled, oh, and then had to defend herself as he swarmed over her, licking her face and barking. During the excitement, I helped the chauffeur to bring out the beds, toys, cushions, coats, bowls, none of which had been used. He's a wild animal. He doesn't need all this. As the car moved away, Mrs. Pumphrey leaned out of the window. Tears shone, shining shone, shine. The scene, tears shone in her eyes, in her eyes. Her lips trembled. Oh, Mr. Harriet! Oh, Mr. Harriet! How can I ever thank you? This is the triumph. This is the triumph of surgery. Triumph of surgery. He didn't do any surgery. That's the biggest joke. And what a story. That is why I say read properly. Don't by heart, don't read for marks, but for God's sake. Read the story and enjoy that lesson first. Then we'll see about marks and all those silly things. But first read the lesson. How well James Herriot wrote. First appreciate it. It is actually, if you can listen and read properly, feel also. How well he started, how beautiful in a short 3 pages only. Just 17 minutes I could read out, right? And there are 10 lessons, 17 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 lessons. In one day we can finish the whole 10th class supplementary reader finished in one day. If you read like that, it'd be so beautiful. It will be like a break. English should be a break. Physics should be a break. This is real education. That is why they have kept the school syllabus, the great NCERT, the greatest, I think, world's best. You don't recognize that. This is why I say, in teacher training, in training for schools, we must read and enjoy and savor it. And for that, we don't require much, only listening to the words. Slowly we'll get it. So all of us, let us enjoy literature, let us enjoy sciences, enjoy social science, Telugu, Hindi, everything. Let's enjoy studies.